Hey, what is going on, you guys? It is Mr. No Sleep here from Old School RuneScape, and welcome to a brand new loot video for you all today. Today we bring you loot from 24 hours of picking up runes at the Zmi Rune Crafting Altar. The idea for this video did come from the comments section of quite a few loot videos through the series throughout the past couple of years. Now, everyone always told me, Mr. No Sleep, you know, there's so many people that drop runes while they do rune crafting at Zmi, whether it be at the teleport spot, which we'll get into in a second, or right here at the altar. And I really just never felt like clicking on the ground for 24 hours, you know, even if it was going to take a few days to do. So our good friend Wiggy of the channel, you know, he's a big fan of clicking, so he did do this video on his main account. And I just want to say a big thank you to you guys. You know, you've been showing great support on these videos, and especially his and my other friends, getting a lot of loot videos done throughout these next couple months here. And I know the views have gone down quite a bit because of the Trailblazer League, but that doesn't worry us. We really do enjoy making these, so we hope you guys enjoy watching them. With all that being said, though, let's go ahead and get into this one. This is definitely a unique loot video compared to a monster or an NPC or an activity. This is definitely one that stands on its own. The gear used for this video was just a set of full graceful, and that is what most people use when they do rune crafting here. You know, some people bring a useful defensive shield like a DFS or something to tank any hits that you may encounter while you're running through this ZMI area. But in regards to this video, just picking up the runes, as you can see, just a set of full graceful was the gear, and the inventory was all of the runes that you're going to be picking up. So, you know, you have the cheap elemental runes, those being the air, mind, body, fire, earth, water, and then you have the expensive runes being the soul, cosmic, astral, chaos, nature, blood, law, and death. So there is potential profit with some of those runes. Obviously, you know, things like body and mind runes, you know, you're not going to make too much money picking those up, but this is a loot video, so every rune was picked up on the ground. Locations were switched time to time from the teleport location to the actual altar itself. You know, me and my friend, I was actually doing ZMI rune crafting on a different account of mine while my good friend Wiggy was picking up runes. So we were both kind of seeing where people were dropping these at the same time, and then kind of communicating on Discord about where we should kind of, you know, locate these runes at and show, you know, each spot for the video. Something that was a little annoying that was pointed out early on was people actually do a spell in the Lunar Spellbook that creates a hunter kit, and then all of a sudden not only are runes popping up, but bird snares are popping up and box traps and butterfly nets. So that was kind of strange. Also saw some torches every now and again. So the clicking, you know, at certain points could have been annoying because of this, but you know, I guess it just goes from left click to right click at that point, so you don't misclick on any strange item that may be dropped on the ground. The big difference between picking up the runes at ZMI at the altar versus picking them up at the bridge is at the bridge they're dropped in multiple locations, and at the altar they're dropped usually in the same couple spots, so it's more AFK to stand at the altar and click. But I was told by Wiggy that there's actually botters here that do dedicate all day to just picking up these runes, so there is competition, which means when we get to the price check and when we see all the runes here, it could have potentially been more and it could have potentially been less. It really just depends on how many bots and how many people are actually devoting their time to picking up runes here. Now, you may be thinking in your head, why in the world would people drop runes here? If they have to bank every single time after doing a rune crafting inventory, why drop them? Why not just bank them? You know, there is a one-click option to bank every single rune in your inventory. As long as you use the bank filler option in your RuneScape bank account, you only have to click once and all these runes will be deposited into your bank account. So the honest answer as to why people drop runes here is, I don't know. It makes no sense to me. I mean, I did ZMI rune crafting from 72 to 77 on another account, and I found that using the one-click bank option was the easiest way to do it. So I'm not too sure why people drop the runes. Maybe they just don't know that you only have to click once to bank everything. I really don't know, but at the end of the day, that was what caused this video to be made, is the fact that there are still people in 2020 that drop runes here. So the real question is, how many are going to be picked up in a time span of exactly 24 hours, tracking everything with a very useful timer, very useful clock, and everything was 100% accurate. So a little history on the Zmi Altar. It actually does stand for Zamorak Magical Institute. This is a Zamorakian organization which specializes in magics and rune crafting. Its main goal seems to be to arm the Zamorakian magic specialists with runes and to gain access to the rune essence mine by stealing the incantation for the teleportation spell to the mine from the wizard's tower. So they've taken possession of the Orania cave and the rune altar there within that can control the access to the abyss. They do seem to be active in the greater Varrock area, and according to Savant, the Temple Knights suspect that this organization is to be responsible for the burning of the Wizard's Tower decades ago, and a number of other crimes. This is kind of like the Wizard Mafia almost. You know, the Zamorak magicians here certainly can't be trusted, and they're always trying to take over. So that's a little bit of history on this area. And the Zmi Altar also goes by the name the Iranian Altar. It's one of the several runecrafting altars located throughout RuneScape, and the altar itself is in the Iranian Cave, which is west of the battlefield and south of West Ardone. Originally released on September 18th, 2007, the Iranian Altar was not included in Old School RuneScape's initial launch because it was not part of the game at the time of the August 10th, 2007 backup of RuneScape. You know, that was what these servers were based on. However, later it was revealed by the developers that the altar existed in near complete form in their archive, and in a 2016 developer's blog, it was written asking players if they wanted it released into the live game, offering a little bit of improvements compared to the original one, and it did actually pass a poll and was released into Old School RuneScape on October 13th, 2016. Now, the Iranian Altar converts these pure essence into an assortment of random runes with a chance of bonus runes being created if the players have the medium Ardone diary completed. The altar, which requires no talisman, no tiara, no staff, gives 170% of the normal experience for each pure essence used. Rune essence can't be used here. You know, you don't need a specific rune crafting level in order to craft at this altar, but the chance of crafting higher leveled runes increases with the higher rune crafting level you have. Players cannot craft a Wrath rune here. This is the only rune that is uncraftable at the altar outside of the combination runes. You do need a Lunar Spellbook teleport to reach this location. It's just the Orania teleport. And once you use the bank here, you do need a payment of 20 non-combination runes of any type. So essentially mind runes or anything like that, you can just kind of devote that to your banking needs. It's kind of like just a fee, but you know, obviously it's a very affordable one. And once you use the bank here, most people just kind of follow the person in front of them, and then that person eventually leads them directly to the altar, which is where you gain your rune crafting experience. Anyone who's ever done ZMI in their life knows exactly what I'm talking about, but essentially it's very AFK if you just kind of follow people around for this. You can of course click manually yourself, and you might even get faster XP rates that way, because you know, sometimes when you follow someone, they just kind of stop running towards the altar, so you will lose out a little bit of experience there. I don't think we're going to be doing a ZMI rune crafting video, so that's kind of why I'm explaining just, you know, the basics of doing this activity. It is important to know that after a game integrity update on May 2nd, 2019, players are no longer allowed to trade pure essence noted or unnoted to other players. Attempting to do so gives the message, you can't trade this item here. Players are also not able to pick up pure essence that is dropped by another player or dropped by a monster killed. If you decide to try, it'll just tell you you can't take that. It doesn't seem to be yours. This update was done as players were able to obtain up to 4 times the polled experience rates through the use of using runner accounts who would ferry essence to and from the bank for that player. This is also how a lot of people made good money in the early stages of when this was a thing, you know, just kind of paying someone to be a banker for you, and it was good money back in those times. A lot of people who did 200 mil rune crafting XP and a lot of people who were very competitive on the high scores were known to use runners. So this update, although it did nerf the XP immensely, was not the most popular thing, but it was necessary. So the rune distribution here is dependent on the player's rune crafting level, and there are separate distributions defined for each 10 level band, you know, one from level 1 to 9, another one from 10 to 19, and so on. Level 99 rune crafting does have its own distributions, so like I said before, the higher rune crafting level you are, the more money and the more experience you will get. And as we are coming to a close here in this 24-hour session of picking up runes, a nice little trivia fact for you guys about the Iranian Altar, just the name to be specific. In Greek mythology, it means heavenly or of heaven in ancient Greek, and this is significant considering the proximity of the grave of the astronomer Scorpius and the observatory. So, you know, I love history myself, and I love RuneScape, so when you combine the two, well, it's pretty awesome. I'll also leave that in the description below, the Iranian Altar. A lot of facts about this. I mean, there's paragraphs. Probably could make a 30-minute video just explaining all of the context behind this altar and everything that you can do here and get done here. But overall, I don't want to bore you guys to death completely. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and price check all the runes that were picked up from 24 hours of picking up runes outside of the Zmi Altar. Overall price check, 4.1 million. million, and if you were to divide that big number by the 24 hours that were spent doing this, it looks like you're going to be making 171k profit per hour. So a lot of clicking, not a whole lot of reward, but I can understand why people would bot this, or I guess why someone who has no skills or, you know, no ability to make money through other means would do this. You know, 171k, certainly not that great, but it's not terrible. You do this for like 40 hours, you can buy yourself a bond. So yeah, I expected something like this. I knew that this was not going to make that much money. I hope it wasn't too underwhelming for you guys, but at the same time, it's better than nothing. So big shout out to Wiggy for putting in the 24 hours to see just how good or bad of a moneymaker this would be. And we really hope you guys enjoyed the video and all the history that went along with it. We'll see you guys tomorrow for another one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, Mr. No Sleep